All right. Welcome to our 10-minute health insurance webinar. Our goal is to educate more than we sell. And the reason you're probably watching this is because you got a text with a link because you booked an appointment. And you don't have to watch this, but some of the basics of that we're going to go through with you on the phone call are some of the things that I'm going to show you here. And we would just like to inform you and educate you a little bit. And so in insurance, there's 3 markets that you can buy from. There's 2 that we're going to talk about. And the reason you're probably on our calendar is because you don't have an option for one of the 3, which is group insurance. So in the health insurance market, there's 3 types of markets that you can do. You have employer coverage, you have government coverage, and then you have private coverage. Government, the employer coverage is out the window because we have group plans, but we're not your employer, we're not your boss. So in the 2 markets that you can buy from is the government market and the private market. The government market is going to be the ACA, the Marketplace, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act. This qualifies for minimal essential coverage. What I always tell people is there's 2 reasons why I typically use this, and I'm going to show you some example of quotes here in a second, and some of the things that you'll see when you get on an appointment with us. And that is, I use it for pre-existing conditions and heavily subsidized plans. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, I've got a missing thyroid, and I take levothyroxine, and I take some high blood pressure medication, I take an anxiety medication, so therefore I have pre-existing conditions. Well, that's not exactly how pre-existing conditions work. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Minor things don't usually count. So a pre-existing condition is more along the lines of heart attack, cancer, stroke, things where you need to go to a psychiatric treatment or drug abuse, alcohol treatment, or you've got pregnancy. So those are the kind of things that can fall into it. Now the private plans, and I'll show you those as well, the private plans are more so for people who want a PPO. They have the flexibility. They're not going to get a subsidy from the government. And it just financially makes more sense. The numbers work out better from a coverage standpoint, but also you don't have all these major pre-existing conditions and you're just not going to get a subsidy from the government. So I'm going to jump over to the government plans. Let me shrink this down. And I'm just going to use a quick example of a family of 4 for the government side. And sometimes people fall into this category, but what we're going to do here is we're going to say we got a family of 4 making about $60,000 a year. Now, if you fall in this category, great. If you don't fall into it, if you make more money or less money, that's totally fine. And let's say this family, and if this sounds a lot like you, that's okay. This is perfect for you. Let's say you don't want access or you got denied for it. A family of 4 on the Marketplace can get a plan for $0 a month. $700 deductible, max out of pocket's $3,000. Now notice the plan could be as much as $1,038. Now, if you're gonna make money, like let's say you're gonna make $170 a year, right? We're gonna go over to silver, which we were looking at. We're gonna go back to that comparison. You'll notice that there is no subsidy. So the deductible is gonna go up, the max out of pocket's gonna go up, the premium is gonna go up. And the thing to understand too with the Marketplace is yes, you're paying a heavy premium, but they cover pre-existing conditions, and all wellness of all types is 100% free. So it really just depends when you get on the phone with us what it is that you want to do. Do you want the flexibility in the PPO, or is your income a little lower according to your household size, and are you going to need to have the subsidies? Now, the other question that we get a lot is, well, what is it that you guys offer for coverages or for plans? And the reality is that we offer anything that's in your area. So, for example, in this area, it's Ambetter, Banner, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Imperial, Medica, Oscar, United Healthcare. We can have all of that. Now, if I change the zip code, whatever populates here is whatever carriers that we're going to have for you to do on the Marketplace. And the other thing to keep a note of as well is most of these plans are HMOs. Now, you can do PPO, but this is where it gets shocking. It goes from $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month. So a lot of people don't want to do that just for a PPO. Now, that's where and why you're going to use the government plans. And sometimes there's just no way of getting around this if you make a lot of money and you've had a heart attack or a stroke. Now, jumping over to the private plans, I'm going to show an example of two adults here, about the same age before, just no kids. And we can either do a plan that goes for 3 years, where it'll stay. And by the way, anything that you get at this time, you're never locked in. It's always month to month. You can always change the plan. You can always reset it. You can cancel it if you job insurance gets offered again and it's better, whatever the circumstance might be. You can always get out of it. A lot of times I do these plans that are 1 year. They're 1 year renewables, just like any employer plan you'd have. You could do a 3-year term as well. Again, this is not the only products that we offer and give people, but these are the core products that we tend to use. I tend to use a lot of United Healthcare because you can go pretty much to any doctor's office that you want to go to, any hospital, any doctor, anywhere in the country, and you're not going to be found out of network. So if I show you this example, the most common one we do right here is we have these deductibles for $5,000, and we'll have these on a 12-month term, like a normal policy. We're going to change these accident coverage here. And what you'll notice is for a family of 2, if you want to do something like this, it might be $500. Now, if it's solo, you might pay $200, $250. If you're older, and let's say you're in your 50s or 60s, you might pay $500, $600 a month just for yourself. Or a family of 4, you might pay $700 or $800. Now, in comparison, of what you're going to experience with the government, if you don't get a subsidy here, and we say, hey, look, let's go look at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and let's go look at United, you're going to pay $1,000 a month or $1,200 for an HMO. Where over on the private plans, I got off the page. It'll make me want to change this. Where on these things, you'll notice that the premium might be only as much as $800 or $700. You can save $500, $600 a month by being on a private plan. The other thing that happens with a lot of these is there's accident coverage built into them when we write them. So if you break your arm, hand, or leg, or not a car accident, but any kind of accident injury, all you're going to pay is $0. Because once the deductible's met, you're good to go on a lot of these. The only time the deductible really applies is for sickness and disease. So if you have a heart attack, cancer, stroke, if you have appendicitis, things like that. Now, the one last thing I'll touch on before I let you go is that on these government plans, when I do these government plans, you'll notice that the deductible and the max out of pockets are higher here. So a lot of times our agents will offer you an additional supplement to go with this. So let's say this family's not making 60, they're not making 170, but they're making, $100,000 a year. Yeah, the premium's $400, but you still have a large deductible and large out of max out of pocket. So I would consider, and I don't be surprised when they say, hey, we may want to give you some additional accident coverage and some critical illness with this as well. So that is the health insurance side. Hopefully this is super helpful. This is meant to be educational, to be able to give you a glimpse into the things that we'll share with you that are important about health insurance when you're buying your own insurance. And there's another 5 to 10 minute webinar on dental and vision insurance as well. That's a little bit more simple. That literally just comes down to how much coverage do you want to have and what's the network look like? What's the dentist you want to go to? And we've got some phenomenal options there. Copay plans that cover $5,000 worth of coverage, some that have minimal or no waiting periods. And a lot of the ones that we offer, they're not ones that you can find online. They're kind of under the table, as you might think. So they're just kind of more hidden backdoor kind of really cool plans that we have access to that you just can't find online because some of it has to do with they're just a proprietary product. So hope this helps. We'll see you at your appointment, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.